G'day guys, welcome back to another Collingwood review on the channel tonight. I'll be reviewing Carlton versus Collingwood, the big Friday night blockbuster, and I'll just start off by saying, fucking hell, it was frustrating. Jesus Christ. One of the worst games, not obviously of the season, but probably under Craig McRae. It was just a night to forget. We don't talk about what happened really, but Jesus Christ, that was a really bad loss for us. I had full belief in the group to, not only win the game, but maybe win every single game from now on, including the finals. And that's obviously, not happened because we just lost last night, and it was a pretty shocking game. To watch, we weren't good for most of the game. We had patches, but Carlton always seemed to kick a goal or two in those patches, which was pretty frustrating. The first 5 minutes was alright, I guess. We kicked 2 goals. We looked really, really good out of the middle. They just dominated ever since then. And full credit to Carlton. They've definitely got, I think 6 on the trot now. At one stage, it looks like they're going to win that game by 50 plus points, which would have made it 6 in a row for them, which would have been a record in VFL, AFL history. So full credit to them. They're absolutely flying at the moment. And I hate to say this, but they could bloody be favourites to win the flag now, Carlton. If they could somehow pinch a doubles chance and sneak into 4th, they could play us in a qualifying final and beat us, which is scary. We just got to hope that we don't meet Carlton in the finals, because, they're playing some pretty scary footy at the moment. Their ball movement was elite. Definitely a lot better than last time we played us. Obviously, it wasn't amazing in the first half, but it was just elite in the second half. It was similar to the Melbourne game. In the second half in the Melbourne game, we just couldn't get the ball past halfway, really, and that was the same in the first half of the game against Carlton. And then in the second half, we just went back into our shells, and Carlton just ran over the top of us in that last quarter. We did make some moves, which I'll get to a little bit later, some switches, some changes. We still managed to kick, 4 or 5 goals somehow in the last quarter, but obviously, Carlton kicked 4 of their own, I believe. So, not great, that's for sure. I could just tell with the group from the first 10 minutes, just ignore the first 5 minutes. The next 5 minutes after that, I could just tell that there was just something wrong with the group. The energy wasn't there. We weren't as motivated, all of our players, and I could just tell from the second quarter, the way we started the second quarter, this was going to get pretty ugly. And I knew we weren't going to win this game. From what I saw in the first half, it was very, very similar to the Melbourne game, and maybe teams have figured us out. Also, Nick Dacos was pretty quiet around stoppages. George Hewitt went to him and did a pretty good job. He wasn't, better than Nick. He was just, I guess he was just a bigger body and just frustrated Nick. And bad thing about what I saw from Nick is I didn't see any energy. I didn't see, what would you usually see from Nick. And I think the group, having a 6-day break from Port, it was a big game in wet weather as well, on the road. It definitely affected us. And also inaccuracy, which is something we haven't had, set shot inaccuracy this season. And we certainly had it last night. And it was pretty frustrating to watch, especially in the second half when we needed to know a few chances and didn't. It was just absolutely shocking. Like, you look at our forwards, I'm not sure if we need to change our forward craft just yet, because it's only one game that's failed our forward craft. Our forward craft's been really, really good this year. But if the same thing happens next week or the week after, we might have to change it up. We've got, Ash Johnson, Ginnivan, McInnes in the VFL. We can always bring them in and see how they work because I think it was mainly inaccuracy tonight. Nick missed a few chances as well. But I guess Bo McCreary was probably one of our better forwards, even though he only had the one tackle. Like the forward half pressure was just not there. He was also a bit inaccurate, kicked 1 goal too, missed an absolute sitter in the first quarter. Dan McStay was probably one of our better forwards, but again was inaccurate, 2 goals too. Jamie Elliott was pretty quiet with just the 11 touches, and he got 3 behinds, pretty inaccurate. I mean, he did have one of our better highlights, which was that massive mark in the fourth quarter. Brody Myercheck was super quiet and had the 2 behinds, so just inaccuracy really, really hurt us in this game. Mason Cox was also quiet and ended up getting subbed out of the game. Oscar Nallier came into the game in the last quarter and didn't really provide that much. I was expecting a little bit more from him, and we didn't really get too much from him, to be honest. So a little bit disappointing. Lipinski didn't hit the scoreboard. None of our midfielders hit the scoreboard. I believe we only got 1 goal from stoppage. We were just off. I really hope we were just off, because if we perform like that, we're not going to win the grand final, let's just say it. And, well, there are other teams that may have just figured out how to beat us. In Melbourne, Carlton, Port Adelaide challenged us. We still got Geelong, Brisbane and Essendon later on in the season. And if we play like that, we won't win those games. Any of them. I guess there was a positive, and he was probably our best on as well, even before he went forward, was Jeremy Howe. Had, I believe, 17 touches for the game. Most of them were down back, obviously. Got switched to defence in the last quarter. And his pressure was there as well, and he also kicked 3 goals. He kicked 2 in 30 seconds, which gave us a slim chance of hope for a comeback, but obviously didn't end up happening. Darcy Cameron was also good in the ruck, but yeah, just a pretty frustrating game altogether. And I guess you could say that we kind of need that loss, but I think we just wanted to keep winning. But what a loss does is makes you more motivated, and I'm as motivated and as energised and as loved for this group as I've ever been at the moment. And I really, really, really hope that this season we can maybe end it off as not only minor premiers, but actual premiers. Hopefully. It was a pretty frustrating night. It was just a night to forget, hopefully. We weren't on. Most of our players were a lot quieter than what they would usually be as well. And yeah, hopefully that was just a one-off, and hopefully we can beat Hawthorn next week, because I think we can. Like, they've been a team all season that's challenged top teams, but we should be able to beat them. Even if we don't bring our best, I still think we can win. But I want to see a good, solid 4-quarter performance. I want to see a 6-goal win over Hawthorn. No offence or no credit to Hawthorn, but I want to see a pretty good performance against Hawthorn after that dismal performance last night against Carlton, and just show why we are on top. And, we got Geelong, Brisbane, Essendon in the final round. They're going to be huge games for us. And I was pretty confident at the start of last night that we're going to win not only last night's game, but those 3. And now they're looking like 50-50 matchups that could go either way. And we certainly don't want to be on the losing side of it, that's for sure. I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and remember, go Pies and fuck the Blues.